chaps, jump in. So as dead ground appears, and it's no longer dead ground, that's where we've got to go, just a little slowly, but hopefully everything's in bed at the moment, and had it rested off during a rather nice afternoon. Hopefully somebody might come out and play later on. If it does, it does. We're only allowed to shoot deer an hour before sunrise and an hour after sunset, no later. And quite frankly, you'll lose the light before that, or the light won't come up. And there's no point in being impatient. It's the law, and it's a good one. So just live with it. We've probably got a couple of hours tonight of light, and we're just coming up to, you can just see the doe box 50 metres on our left, which is going to be our house for the evening. So, welcome to our 2-star accommodation for the evening. We call these doe boxes. Very simple, just a pallet made up with a structure, and if it pisses with rain we won't get wet. So, got 2 hares out there at the moment. So what you've got to try and do is, you've got to get yourself just nice and comfortable. Don't worry about moving. If something comes out and you scare it, absolutely doesn't matter at all. Okay, it's no big issue. The real key is you're out probably an hour before they get out. So all the smells and all the movement and all the stuff that we've been doing just disappears. And like with most wildlife, once you're here for 10 minutes, everything else tends to come back in again. It really does. Got 2 hares out there looking at us, thinking we're a bunch of lemons, thinking what the heck are we doing? The beauty is once they start moving and they're out, they give a bit of confidence to everything else really. But lovely to see, you know. We're blessed with a lot of hares up in this part of the world. My guess is you'll probably see another half dozen before the night's out, if not more. It's a little bit of ground which is right next to about 1,500 acres, which I've had for so many years, and all arable. So habitat tolerance with fallow deer needs to be pretty low. If you get 15 to 20 fallow on this is a seed crop they'll put in here, it's going to be malting barley. Can be pretty devastating. And like all of us, you know, we don't mind seeing the odd deer or two, but when you got surrounded by 8,000 acres of forestry, and this is commercial forestry, and Dalby Forest is incredibly well known for mountain biking, and indeed I participate in the stupid sport. You've got a massive population of deer that need to be controlled, not only for the Forestry Commission, so that everything they really replant is protected. There's no point in replanting and just let roe deer and fallow and reds, which you get here, use them as celery sticks, because you get no timber production. And you've got to remember that commercial forestry is about commercial timber. So the Forestry Commission have full-time rangers that will do what they can in a massive area. What then happens is there's a fallout all on these edges where people have got arable commercial grass farms. The deer will come out, and it's easier for us to manage those numbers as they come out onto the arable ground and to the grassland than it is for the rangers to manage them inside the forestry. Bear in mind, you've got a massive Dalby Visitor Centre. I mean, literally thousands of people are visiting the forest every week. pretty difficult to do deer management when you've got thousands of visitors. So the rangers have a difficult job, and it's very early morning, last light, probably areas that are not frequented by the public. There's a big footpath just down into the forestry, which is not in our line of sight, but you've got to be careful of your backstop here. If there's no backstop, just walk away. Sooner or later it will come out and you will get a shot, but you've just got to be patient. Deer numbers, if I give you a number, I'd be absolutely guessing. But for every one I see, just in this part of the forestry, there'll be another 5 or 6 at least. And that may be underestimating it. Fallow, I've seen, we might see 1, we might see 2 tonight. I've seen 20 to 30 out in this field at one time. And when you own the field, which I don't, and it's their crop, and it's worth, £250 a tonne, seeing fallow deer walk in it, eat it, and then lay down in it and flatten it. There's no registered charity number on the bottom of the farmer's paperwork. So you've got to be sensible. Get the old fallow, walk out, happy days. Get 30, get worried.
What would our landscape look like were deer to be allowed to proliferate unchecked?
Disastrous, absolutely disastrous. I mean, the habitat, the flora would just be decimated. The forestry, which were, rightly so, were clearly keen on maintaining and growing more of. But we've also got to grow crops. We've got a growing population and need food. So on one stage we want to have all that, but we're back to Stephen Tapper, a question of balance. So if you let them proliferate, and I think the south of England has the bigger problem, the north we don't have that so much, some disastrous areas where, the tree landscapes, the flora is just absolutely decimated. Scotland at the moment is doing a lot of work to try and reduce the red deer numbers to anywhere between 5 to 10 per square kilometre. And they're seeing a good reaction from that in the flora that comes back because of that. But again, we don't want genocide either. And there goes your problem.
I mean, obviously, we need to talk food.
Yep.
When you're stalking, you're managing deer, are you also seeing them as a viable source of food that we could be making more of?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I've got the figures right, but roughly 3,000 tonnes of red deer meat, frozen, comes in from New Zealand every year, simply because it's easy to pack, it's all exactly the same size. So in this age of technology, can we not really deal with different sized deer and different sized joints? I mean, I find it extraordinary. So we've got a lot of really good wild resource deer in this country, yet the price of deer is round about £1 a pound, so $2.20 a kilo. Beef and pork at the moment is anywhere between £6 and £8 a kilo. Do you know where? And everybody wants cheap food. So why on earth are we not making the most of venison? If you make the most of venison and you get it into the food chain, of course, then people will get on with the cow. But if there's no market for it, you cannot, none of us can, morally pull a trigger unless that beast is going into the food chain. I won't do it.
It sounds like we could be telling this story better, John.
Yes, and look, let's not blame the outside world for that. It's our industry, so we've got to take responsibility for putting that picture across. Am I the best person to do it? I'm sure I'm not. I've got some of the information. There's some other people far smarter than I am, who and also can influence other people further up the chain.
The crazy thing is, it feels like it shouldn't need somebody smart, John. It's a simple idea. We've got the resource. It's cheap, and it fulfills our obligation to manage the countryside, and yet we're still not able to get this across.
No, and do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. The problem is, I think there's a perception of deer and wild deer. When it comes to farmed sheep, farmed pig, farmed cattle, been in it all my life, it all goes to an abattoir. If you think that's the best way to go, I suggest you go and look at an abattoir. And then look at how we harvest the surplus of deer. We're very careful of what we shoot. We understand the numbers of what we've got to do. Getting it from where it's shot in a humane manner into a chiller, into a game dealer, into a restaurant. It's superbly done. I mean, it really is. And when you see venison on a plate and it's on the menu, everyone goes, oh God, there's venison on the menu. And give or take, the last time I went into one of the good pubs near Helmsley, 2 medallions from the loin, £36. Now I'm barely getting that for a whole carcass in the skin. My suggestion is there's probably something, not correct in that, and that if we overprice it, then of course people won't buy it, and absolutely right too. But we're able to produce that meat at a very, very low cost, and we're able to put that in the food chain. We've got the means to do it, we've got the expertise behind it, we've got restaurateurs and chefs who are just outstanding, yet there seems to be a reluctance, and that's where I'm slightly lost, if I'm honest.
Do you think that there would have been that reluctance in the Kentish villages of your youth? Did people understand a little bit more about what food looked like then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, it wasn't unheard of, after a shoot day, or even if somebody was just, managing the surplus of hares or rabbits, you find a brace of rabbits or a brace of hares or a brace of partridge hanging on your front door. Nobody bat an eyelid, and it got used. I have a very small book behind you, which was all my sales of rabbits and pigeons and pheasants in the late 70s into the restaurants and the butchers in Biddenden. And I was getting 50p a pigeon. This is the late 70s. I was getting, wait for it, £2.50 for a dressed, plucked pheasant into a restaurant. I was getting £1 for hares. It's 1977. Sorry for those who weren't born then, but this is a long time ago. So why could we get that understanding of how good that meat was then? And I know we want cheap food, and now we've got to a stage where we can barely, the price of venison dropped to 50p a pound a few weeks ago. It's gone back up to 75p to a pound now. I don't know how long for. That's worse price than we got in the 70s. So yes, there was a much better understanding and a much better acceptance that wild food, wild game harvested was absolutely tremendous on a plate. A good evening stalking is not made by just seeing a roebuck or a fallow buck that you want to shoot. Just seeing wildlife come out. And actually, if you go out there 4 or 5 times and you're not seeing much roebuck, then you're probably doing your job. If you see 6 come out, get worried because you clearly haven't been. And the same with the fallow. So it's fascinating. Hopefully we might see some of the hares later on start running around chasing each other. Very often you get them literally 5-10 metres in front of us. And they sort of think there's some dodgy looking people looking at them from a few metres away. But they know they're not going to get shot. And you really don't know. You could see, I've seen badgers come out here badgers, foxes, roe and fallow all in the same night. And it's a bit like Noah's Ark. But you don't see anything, or you haven't got a shot on anything you want to shoot. So it doesn't make it a bad evening.
Thank you for watching this short clip of one of our films. If you enjoyed it, there is plenty more. Head over to fieldfoodandcountry.co.uk and become a member today.